right.
Okay.
So, well, we're really glad you're here, obviously. And many of us, I know many of you, and I also don't know some of you. So I'm really excited just for Katy and I to be connecting our worlds and bringing together just all these wonderful, wonderful people. Before diving in, we'll just quickly share about ourselves, just so you get anchored in who we are. And then I'll kind of walk through what the format of today looks like, just so that you're super aware of everything that's going on. And that's partly to just help you continue to anchor into your nervous system. When we're talking about doing this heart work, it's a very, a lot of times when we go to like do transformation work, we will want to go hard at something or like make something happen. And as you'll see, this work I think requires a level of softening and slowing down and just, feeling fully safe in the system and wherever you are. So that's part of the kind of, everything is sort of set up in that way to kind of help encourage that. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you're uncomfortable with your camera on, you don't have to have it on. If you don't want to participate in the chat, you don't have to participate in the chat. This is really for you to tune in, feel the energy of everyone, and just make yourself at home. Okay, so I'll just introduce myself really quick and then I'll turn it over to Katy. Okay, so I'm Beth Porter. I have a healing practice working with a beautiful modality called emotional polarity technique, which I've shared with many of you here. I'm super grateful to have you here. And essentially I help people heal by just guiding them to integrate their wholeness. So just the shadow and the light, really just honoring all things. I do a lot of emotional healing, identifying and reconciling old traumas and wounding and actual stuck emotional patterns that live in the body. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that. So Katy, what about you?
Okay, so I'm really excited to be here, and I know most everybody here too, but I'm excited for everyone to be here. If you don't know me, I'm Katy, and I am coming to you from my homestead in Southeast Arizona. It's a beautiful day here. I'm on Pacific time, yeah. So I'm the earliest. It's only 5 o'clock here, so that's why it's so late. And yeah, I was initiated on this heart path about 12 years ago when my son was born, and since then, I've really just been spiraling around this work of the heart and exploring it in, all of its angles. I am recently trained in the heart math method, and you'll hear a little bit about that today. And I have started to facilitate heart-centered healing through awareness and embodiment, creativity, and through connection to nature and the earth. So that's me.
Beautifully said. I don't think I've ever heard you say your bio, so that was really lovely for me to hear. Okay, so the flow of class. I'm gonna start us off with a short grounding, just to get us all settled into our bodies and kind of settled into the space that we've created here and sort of disconnect wherever we've been from the day, but it will be pretty quick. Then we're going to teach on part 1 of our series, which is on attuning to our hearts. So specifically around how do we connect into the heart. After that, after we kind of talk about the concepts there, Katy is actually going to guide us through an embodiment technique, a practice to help you learn what it actually feels like to engage with your heart and to bring your heart forward. And we think this part is super important because this is different for all of us. It's going to be a unique experience for every person. So if we are trying to explain what it's like to live from the heart, it's almost impossible. So really allowing your experience where you are right now to be exactly where you need to be. And then at the very end, we have an upcoming retreat. So we're really excited that we put together an in-person weekend to explore this work a lot deeper. So we'll share about that as well. And just a heads up that our next class in the series will be on July 19th. So mark your calendars for that as well. All right, I don't have any questions here in the chat or anything. So if you're ready, let's dive in to the grounding. So really just offering yourself a space to slow down. So if you feel comfortable to close your eyes and you feel safe in your body to do that, go ahead and do so. If you notice that you leave your body a lot, maybe just keep your eyes at a soft gaze. And if you're just kind of feeling like, a little tender around wherever you are, just, meet yourself exactly where you need to be. And just begin to allow your energy to drop. So what I mean by that is just invite it to sink down into the base of your body. So where your seat is connecting to whatever is supporting underneath you. Allow your breath to take a couple extra beats. Allow it to slow down without forcing anything. Maybe notice if you want to kind of move your shoulders around and kind of squeeze them to your ears and bring them back down, kind of inviting gravity to take over. And if there's anything that you can do to make yourself even 10% more comfortable right now, give yourself that permission. So maybe your computer is on your lap and you'd rather have it on the surface in front of you. Make those adjustments, get yourself to be as comfortable as possible. And then just invite an openness. Allow yourself to take in what you hear today and have sovereignty around what is correct for you. If there's something that we're sharing that doesn't make sense or doesn't feel resonant right now, maybe it's not resonant right now. So just know that you can always choose to bring forward exactly what you need right now. And your inner guidance can carry that for you. And just take a couple more deep breaths. And maybe you want to do one last one in the nose and out the mouth and just release it like a sigh. Good. When you're ready, you can meet us back in this space. Bring your eyes open. Good. And I'll hand it over to Katy to get us kicked off.
Okay. Thank you, Beth. That was beautiful. So helpful. Okay, so I will say my caveat is I've been sick, and so my voice is like failing me at certain times that I don't expect it. And I also have a little bit of a cough, so you'll have to forgive me. But so just gonna dive right in. So today we're gonna talk about a few things. So first we're gonna talk a little bit about the why, right? So why do we need to tune into our hearts, and what is the point of this anyway, right? So we hear these ideas about listening to our hearts or following our hearts, and it feels a little fluffy and like slippery, right? Like it's hard to like grab onto those ideas. So what we're really hoping to do today is just give it some legs and really sink into what is here for us. So first, we have to really talk about what has happened to pull us away from our hearts. So I look at it like we have these three parts of ourselves. We have our bodies, our minds, and our heart, or our spirit. I kind of use those like interchangeably. And if we imagine these like kind of like a triangle, our current culture has placed the mind at the top of the triangle. Okay, so mind rules, logic rules, head knowledge rules everything. So this would then put the body and the heart at the bottom of the triangle in kind of the supporting roles to the mind. But we all know what it's like to be like too much in our heads, right? Like living in our heads. And when we get into this place of living totally in our head, we experience symptoms of disconnection from our hearts and our bodies. So being in our head, I know you know what this feels like, but I'll just list a few things to kind of, help us understand. So it might feel like being overwhelmed or even feeling a lot of anxiety. It can look like paying attention to all the shoulds or trying to fix everything. It is like forcing things to happen. Like there's no flow, it's all forced. It's living in the past or the future, anywhere but the present. It also looks like looping stories in our minds, playing it over and over and over again in your mind. We all know what this feels like, right? And it can be looking outside of ourselves for answers. Like we have never been taught that it's okay to trust ourselves. So we lack that self-trust. And this is one that kind of came to me the other day that I feel like I've been in for a long time and I'm finally seeing, but it can even look like desperately seeking and trying to like figure out, what is my purpose? Like, what should I be doing? Like, this is all coming from the head. So I want you to just listen to the difference here. So the mind says, how can I fix this? What should I do next? The heart says, there is nothing to do. This is enough. I am enough right here in this moment. So could you feel that the difference there? Maybe notice like what you felt in your body and where you felt it. I feel it in my body like every time, and it feels like a relaxation. It feels like a release. I feel like I can take a deep breath. So when I read that to Beth the other day, she just kind of like melted. So it's a very like embodied response when you listen to what the mind says versus what the heart says. So the mind really feels like a tension to me. Like, how can I fix this? It's a tension. But the heart is a release. Like, this is enough. I'm doing enough. So the idea here is that we want to like rearrange this triangle, and we want to like bump that ego thinking mind from the place of rulership and put it in its proper place, which is a beautiful, helpful support to the heart. And then we can appoint the heart as our leading voice. So the heart holds our truth, and it holds our connection to divine source and to God. And it holds every bit of wisdom that we will ever need. It is the source of love, like love with a capital L, love. And this is why the rightful place for the heart is like at the top of the triangle, right? So we want our hearts to be leading our decisions and our life. So it's kind of this, I mean, Beth and I talk about this all the time. It's like this total paradigm shift. Like everything just kind of gets like turned on its head. And when we start to live from this place, like this is where we can truly find those things that we all want, right? Like joy and purpose and peace. And this is really where we find presence. So this leads us to the next question, which is, how the hell do you do that? Like, how do we even like get to the place where we can, I mean, we all know how powerful our minds are. Like we have given it more and more power. So it's a powerful force. And we've lived our entire lives with the mind just in charge. And we're told from every angle that this is what equals success, and that controlling life with our mind it's ingrained in us. Like I would even say it's like programmed into us. But the good news is we can retrain ourselves, and we can retrain to be more heart focused and less ego thinking and focus. It's really just about acknowledgement and intention and habit training. So habit training is like a little, my friend Jane is here, and she's a teacher through Charlotte Mason method. And habit training is like one thing that I've taken from that method that is like genius. So this is the part I start to get like really, really excited about. And it's not because I love habit training. I hate habit training, but it works. So it's like, it works.
Do you mind if I interject, Katy, really quick about
what
that?
Do you want to say?
Well, just quickly, when we were like putting this together, what I loved about bringing forward habit training is just, especially, I think if you're someone that's in the self-development space and you're seeking and you're working on yourself and all of that, sometimes these things, you know, as Katy was saying, can feel really elusive. And it's like, okay, I have to do like this healing and then I can be in my heart. And what I love about habit training is that like there's literally tools to help get your system, like it kind of marries the etheric and the like real world together. And it kind of helps us to live, you know, in that place of not prioritizing one thing over another. I don't know if that makes sense, but when we talked about habit training, I was like, this makes me so excited because the part of your thinking mind that wants to do something can do something to help support the heart.
Right.
Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And that is kind of the whole point of it anyway, is to bring along like our thinking mind, because it is we can put it in a place where it can be in service to us. So the part that I get really excited about is kind of the nerdy stuff. So I love to dig into the science of the heart and how our physical, like biological heart organ and the metaphorical emotional heart, like how these things work together and are the same thing, and how we can align our bodies and our minds with our heart. And so this alignment is something called, it's called heart coherence. So there's a ton to talk about when talking about heart coherence, and I'm not going to talk about it all tonight, at least I'm going to try. But I will tell you that there is beautiful science that shows how physically what's happening when we are in high heart coherence state is that all of our major body systems are synchronized to the rhythm of our heartbeat. So all of our systems are, you know, respiration, digestion, immune system response, our hormonal responses, our nervous system response, even like our brain function, they all sync up. And when this happens, it's called being in high coherence, and is considered like the healthiest state that we can be in, because everything is working together at its best and highest function. And what's so incredible and makes me like crazy excited is that the heart is like at the center of all of it. And it's setting the rhythm for everything else to fall in line with. And like, what a beautiful, like, it's just such a beautiful picture. So our hearts actually have this function called rhythmic bioelectricity, and it's incredible. It sends the rhythm of your heartbeat to every cell in your body. Like your heart literally communicates with each and every cell in your body. And it's communicating inward to your cells, but it's also communicating externally. And it actually goes out about 3 feet outside of your body and makes an imprint on your magnetic field or your aura. Like you literally are projecting heart into the world, and others like read your vibe based on what your heart is sending out. So freaking cool. So lastly, so when all of our systems are online and in sync with the heart, it's called systems coherence. So this includes the heart, the mind, the body, and emotional alignment. So this is like where we want to live. Like this is where it's at. And in a place of systems coherence, we are at our happiest and healthiest. We're able to like deal with what is coming at us. You know, life is hard, and we have the ability to be able to navigate it well and in a healthy state. And when we're in this systems coherence place, we're actually vibrating at the same frequency as love, like the frequency of love, which is the highest vibration. And you know, that's like kind of bringing it back, like that's where the voice of our hearts is grounded in love. And when we can sync up like our body and our mind and our spirit and our emotions to this frequency of love, like the more time we spend in sync with the rhythm, like the better life gets, right? Okay. I think that's enough. That's enough of like the nerdy science stuff, but I hope that like gave you a little bit to like help you understand just a little bit more about why we want to like put the heart like at the top of the triangle, right? And how paying attention to our heart coherence, like how we're synced up, it's just one of the habits that we can learn to focus on centering like in our hearts and letting our heart lead. So Beth, why don't we talk a little bit about the emotional aspect of the heart and what comes up like when we start to open our hearts and really listen.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining all of that, because I think you do such a good job. And it is just super, it's really beautiful to see now how much science and the non-science world are coming together. So I just want to say that. But yeah, so we've talked a lot, like Katy and I talked a lot about, okay, well, yes, let's do this. Let's sync up, you know, like let's get like achieve heart coherence. And those of you who know me know that, or maybe know that I have a Virgo rising, and I am very like kind of masculine in the way that I like to approach getting things done and healing and tracking and all of that stuff. And, you know, I tend to want to like go hard. And what actually occurs with this work is once you begin to open up to living in coherence and like training your system, a lot of repressed and ignored and unknown emotions will surface and can cause a lot of just distress. And so you are kind of moving in the space of, you know, kind of tipping that triangle, like Katy was saying, and it's creating a whole new paradigm within you. However, oftentimes we will have, you know, reunion grief surface that is showing up, you know, to meet us once we've achieved something that we've desired for so long, or even pushed away. So say that the target is to achieve joy. And once you receive joy, your system actually has to release all that was on top of that to allow that to occur. So Katy was talking about different vibrations, and denser emotions actually carry a lower vibration. Lighter emotions like love carry a lighter vibration. So from like a weight perspective, you know, like this denseness of anger, you know, resentment, abandonment, all that, whatever you can all imagine, all the emotions will be on top of, you know, what's underneath. So while this process from a, again, this like tangible side of like us sitting in and calibrating our systems to be in greater heart coherence is a beautiful practice, we wanted to share also that a lot may come forward for you. And so there's, again, going gently. If you hear this noise in the background, I'm sorry. It's my dog getting a bath. It is her time right now to be coming in for her bath, of course. But yes, so yeah, I feel like I don't want to go too deep in the emotional space of it, really wanting to give time for Katy to walk us through the practice. But I also just wanted to offer that so that as you are taking this practice forward into your own life, if things are coming up for you, it's really about, continuing to create a space for yourself to feel and to release and to honor and to be with, and to not place judgment on what's coming forward to you, and maybe even not let the thinking mind take over and be like, why is this happening? Which is very difficult. So I don't want to, I want to make sure that this is something that our whole world is being asked to do right now. So as Katy's like talking about, and then we can live in this energy of, coherence. I just see the ripple effect, out into everything that we connect with and touch in our lives. And this work, when you're called to do it on yourself, is so, so, so important and so tender. And oftentimes we are releasing generations of emotions that are in our systems. So just very much cautioning you to be really soft and gentle with yourself, and seek the support that you need in those moments. Is there anything else you want to add, Katy? I kind of like went rogue with what I was saying there.
It's okay. Yeah. Well, it was perfect. And I think I would just add that, just because we have this like target of being in this state of like coherence, and we're moving towards that, it doesn't mean that our life doesn't throw shit at us, like it's still going to happen. And this work really isn't about just like putting that aside or like ignoring that. Like it's more about like being able to strengthen our systems enough to where we can like actually meet the hard things that are coming, and we're not reactive, or we're not coming from a place of wounding. Like we are coming from a place of healing. And so that is where like we're able to actually make an impact in the world. And so that's where it's like, there's tons of science here too about like how when we are in coherence, how it actually affects other people's coherent state. And even when they are not in a state of coherence, like their state of coherence goes up just because ours is up, so there is that ripple effect. But also, back to just like, this isn't about like bypassing the hard things, and like we are still called to feel everything fully, and to run, everything runs through our systems. It's more about like, how can we skillfully do that and be able to just manage a lot better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like literally like transmuting what comes in that is dense into something else that is lighter. And it's just a massive service to everyone. So anyway, really, obviously we get very jazzed about this stuff. Let me see if there's anything else in my notes that I wanted to make sure that I covered since I went rogue. No, I think I touched on pretty much everything. So
Well,
yeah,
and if you, well, and if anyone has like any questions they wanted to like drop in the chat, you can do that too.
Yes,
and we can circle back around to that. Okay, so at the beginning of this class, Beth helped us like ground into our bodies. So that's what we were doing, just grounding into our bodies. And then this little chat was kind of it was engaging our thinking minds. So now we're going to just invite our hearts to come forward. So we wanted to make sure that we provided you a space to be able to recognize what the heart feels like for you right now in this moment. And learning to connect to your heart, it can be easy and natural, but for a lot of us, most of us, like, it takes a little bit of effort. It takes attention and devotion to the practice. And so I just want to make sure that, this could feel like something, but it could feel like something else. And like, just make sure not to put any like of those shoulds on it, and just accept what is, and just know that this is a place that we have been closed to for a really long time. So it might take a little bit of work. So, okay, so if you feel comfortable, we're going to just kind of settle ourselves. If possible, you can sit up with a straight spine, and go ahead and take like whatever movement you need. If you need to roll your shoulders or stretch, or get a drink of water, like whatever your body is asking for, just go ahead and take it right now. I'll just give you a second. And then when you feel ready, you can just close your eyes and come to stillness. And I'll just invite you to start to notice your breath. So you don't have to change it, just notice it, the quality, the depth. Just go ahead and breathe normal for a few rounds. Okay, and now we're going to begin to alter the breath. So I want you to slow it down and deepen it. So breathe slowly in, out. You can choose what feels better through your nose or mouth, whatever feels good. Breathing in, I'm aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I'm aware of my out-breath. So continue this breath as I read you this poem by Mary Oliver. You've probably heard it before, but this time I want you to place your hand over your heart and just invite your heart forward and listen from this place. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees and mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. So notice for a moment what you felt in your body while you were listening. Maybe take note of what emotions came forward. You can keep breathing slow and steady. You do not have to be good. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. What do you love? Ask yourself this question and see what first comes into your mind. Hold on to that. And try to focus all your attention on the love that's here for this person or thing. No stories attached. Just focus on the love that you feel. Meet your heart in this place as it is. And now notice what you feel in your body. Any little sensations. What emotions are here? We are powerful beings. We hold the power to call upon our hearts and allow heart love to permeate our systems, to heal us, to show us our wholeness. We have the power to regulate our own systems and to act from this place of love. So take a deep breath in and just sigh it out. You can take a couple more breaths if you need it. Or you can begin to take a little movement. And when you feel ready, come back to the room. Open your eyes. Okay. Welcome back. Okay, so my question for you that I'd love if you just would drop a little something in the chat is, how did heart feel? What did it feel like to you? It could be in your body or, an emotion. Like, what did heart feel like to you? Peace, ease, and trust. Like a flower opening, buzzy and light, being held. Yeah. So for me, like, heart almost always feels like a very soft, mothering energy, like full of so much grace for me. Exposed, present, and loved. It felt there.
Felt it. It was there.
It was there. Yeah.
I want to explain just some of what came up for me immediately, in case this is something that happened for other people. But, and this happens, like when I've done heart work with Katy, she's like, put your hand over your heart and feel the heartbeat. And I'm like, I don't feel a beat. Like I cannot feel the beat. So there's sometimes, not like, yeah, Lynn's saying, not sure I found my heart. Yeah, as though feelings such as desire and hope are near, moving around me. Yeah, it's so, I mean, even just reading this, you see how different this expresses for each person. And when I immediately felt anything, it was that it felt like it came forward, but then my arm got really tight over it. So it was like this, my body started adjusting to what it feels like to bring your heart forward. And yeah, I felt some emotion, especially around the, you don't have to be good. That really, really gets me. But yeah, Karen, there was a warm connection, sensed it beating slowly and calmly, relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is the forever just path that we're on. And that's why in the beginning, I talked about like the spiraling around, because I think that once we are called and enter into heart work, like it never ends. And we just keep circling around it, and so we see it from all different angles and we feel it from all different angles. And that's why these things that we feel or felt today might not be what you feel tomorrow. There are times I have a practice of writing letters to my heart, and there are like days where I am like, dear heart, where are you? Like literally, I can't find you, like you're nowhere. And it's just part of the whole thing, it's part of the practice. And so to make sure that every time we show up to it, we are accepting of what will be today, and not judging and not thinking that it should feel a certain way or shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important because it can show up differently day to day. And Katy, you can let me know what you think about this, but I don't even think it's really about what it really feels like. It's just about, to me, sometimes it is because I am so heavy in the mind, and that's what we're so used to. To me, if I can access the heart and then ask it questions and allow it to come through the mind, I count that as a win. Like, it's really not about like perfection. It's not about achieving this like perfect state of, oh, I just feel my heart all the time, just beaming out to everybody. I think it's really about like, what kind of relationship is accessible to you now with it today, and knowing that that likely will evolve and change over time and in different seasons. Like, you could, so.
Right. Well, and today's practice was really just about like trying to sink into, because yes, it does come through your mind a lot. It does come through my hand when I'm writing, but it's like being able to distinguish, like, is this my mind speaking or my heart speaking? And so, those statements about like how mind wants to fix and do something, and how heart is just here to be and accepting of what is, like to be able to distinguish what is what, like what is coming up right now. Is this my mind or is this my heart? And so I hope that today was like helpful for that. If you want to, after this or at some point, I think it would be interesting to just do a little bit of journaling around that experience and what you felt, what came up, where did you feel it in your body? Were there emotions? If you didn't feel like you could access your heart, like talk about that too. And that's one thing I encourage a lot, is especially if you feel like you don't connect to your heart, like get out your pen and right, dear heart, like, I can't find you. I can't feel you. I don't know where you are. I don't know what it feels like to listen to you. Like, just like talk to it. And like, it is something that will answer you back. Um, so if you want homework, that's your homework.
Yeah. I'll just say this too. Katy offered a practice to me one time, or maybe you led me through it. I can't remember exactly, but it was just, putting your hand over your heart and slowing down and just saying, I am here, I am listening. I am here, I am listening. And just inviting it to come forward.
Which can
I
be
felt like that was
really,
really helpful.
yeah, that can actually be super emotional.
Very
and
emotional. Yeah.
very tender and hard to
Yeah.
do that. So make sure that you're like very gentle with yourself.
I know. I actually like started feeling emotion as I was just saying it to the group. I'm like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I
Yeah.
did it when I was in a bath, nice Epsom
Yeah.
salt bath, and let all the water go to the water kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Karen
Okay.
says she can see incorporating this awareness of my heart into my daily meditations. Yes, for sure. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
if there's no questions or anything, so we're going to do another class, another one of these, and the next one will be on July 19th, same time. So same Zoom link. And then as we kind of wrap it up tonight, we just wanted to share with you a little bit about our upcoming retreat. So we are so excited. Like Beth and I have been talking about this forever.
Like years.
Like years, yeah.
Like not like just a little bit, but
yeah.
years.
It's like a long time in the making. So we are offering an in-person weekend that will be centered around going deep into this heart work. So what we did tonight was really like a base layer to help us attune to our hearts and know what it feels like to be in that energy of our heart. And yeah, for the retreat, we've crafted an offering that takes this work so much deeper. You want to tell us more details, Beth?
Yeah. So logistically, it's going to be September 1st through 4th, and it's in a beautiful space in Tucson, Arizona. And like Katy said, we're just going to be journeying deep into this work and really just carving out, a full weekend of time. It's a 4-day experience in an intimate group to explore some of these things. So there will be workshops, and then there's going to be, each person will receive a private healing session while they're there. So you'll have some group setting stuff and then some individual stuff, some space to integrate and reflect. We have a very talented, grounded sound healer coming to offer heart chakra healing through her vocal toning practice. Her name's Emily Dukes, if you wanted to look her up. We're really excited to have her come. Katy is especially a huge fan of sound healing, and Emily does sound healing as well as she's going to bring her tuning forks and, to attune to the frequency of the earth, which I don't know much about, so I don't want to speak too much on that, but she'll be around as part of another practitioner with us. And really throughout the retreat, we've designed it to anchor into ritual around the heart and just being in full expression, so that when you reemerge into normal life, you can bring forward some of this, shifted energy into that space. And we just really believe it's so powerful to do this work in community, especially over the past couple of years. We've just isolated and connected in these different ways, and just the power of coming together. I say this a lot. I even posted it on my Instagram again today because I say it all the time and it always comes up. But, healing truly happens in connection with others, but really also connection, with yourself, connection. Essentially, that just works on so many levels, but essentially, we want to avoid separation. We know a lot of the things that we do in this world cause more separation and more division within ourselves. And so the whole point, of doing this together is to, show up for one another, to be vulnerable together, to witness each other and really support each other. think, oh yeah, so we have 4, yeah, it's a pretty small group. We have 4 spaces remaining. There are private and shared rooms available. And yeah, just reach out to us if this speaks to you and you're interested in learning more. Yeah. Anything else, Katie? Any other questions or anything from anyone? You can always follow up an email too if you want to ask private questions.
Yeah, we're excited for the next class like this.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about courage and how that sort of relates to this journey. But yeah, we're just really grateful that you shared this space with us and took time to be here. And it's just so good to see all your faces and like have your energy here. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Have a beautiful night.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everybody.